So when we're hearing about the USAID playing the role of funders into this so-called regime change, color revolution, whatever, they have been so far successful in toppling a democratically elected government here. Now, Bangladesh is practically under the control of Al-Qaeda, Islamic State, Hamas, and other jihadist forces. Now, Pakistan wants to restart their SOS project in Bangladesh. I'm telling you on record that they have already established 3 training camps within the Chittagong Hill Camp. Pakistan has been a loyal partner and associate of the lapdog of the American deep state. I am talking and they are not putting me into jail because I have already served 7 years rigorous imprisonment in this country during BNP and Awami League for criticizing jihad, for criticizing radical Islam.
You're just a brave journalist. You're just a very, very brave man.
Not like that, not like that. Any journalist, anywhere, when you speak out, the regime will be afraid of you.
Revealing documents of USAID has really opened a can of worms. There's a massive political storm brewing in the United States of America, but particularly every country is now focusing on what did USAID really fund in their respective countries and how did that really help a particular government or the other, a party or the other, political movements or not, so on and so forth. And in that, one country has come to light, and that's Bangladesh. A lot of conversation, and in one of the interviews that has now gone viral, there is conversation about how Biden administration helped topple Sheikh Hasina government. A video that largely speaks about USAID and exposes USAID and their donations in various countries, but also had that bit which now has been endorsed by Elon Musk when he tweeted it. He's part of the Trump administration. And now Donald Trump, President of the United States of America himself, tweeted that video out. Clear endorsement from and by the current US administration that yes, they do endorse the fact that USAID was involved in donations, and Biden administration, through its soft power policy of using USAID, helped in toppling of the Sheikh Hasina regime. To discuss this and more, I'm being joined by Salah Uddin Shoaib Choudhury. He's editor Blitz, joining me from Dhaka. When we spoke to him about his own safety, Salahuddin said that he is one of those who is in many ways has ruffled feathers on both sides, both parties, all governments, and therefore is jail proof. Sitting in Dhaka and writing the things that he's writing, we'll be discussing all those things in detail. Salahuddin, thank you so much for joining us here on India Today Global.
Thank you very much.
Let's begin with the video itself. There was a mention of USAID donating and funding certain groups, certain movements, but that also involved how very meticulously they were trying to fund people who were anti-Sheikh Hasina and therefore did play a role in the toppling of Sheikh Hasina government. Could you elaborate, being a journalist in Dhaka, could you elaborate what that really means? Because they also spoke about documents that are in public domain now.
You see, on 31st of October, during the Diwali festival, Donald Trump tweeted about the genocide on Hindus, Christians, and religious minorities in Bangladesh. And in that tweet, he categorically mentioned that it is Biden and Kamala Harris who are responsible for pushing Bangladesh into a total chaos. Now, at that time, it was 31st of October, and now we are in February. Trump already is the president. So when we are hearing about the USAID playing the role of funders into this so-called regime change, color revolution, whatever, possibly we will also hear some more names very soon. For example, National Endowment for Democracy,
Mhm.
NewsGuard, Wikipedia, and others. These are coming up. Actually, it is all interrelated, and these organizations, alongside George Soros and his Open Society Foundation and Soros, they all are a massive racket of targeting any particular country in the world. They also targeted your country, India, my country, Bangladesh. They have been so far successful in toppling a democratically elected government here, and finally establish a reign of terror. You know, now Bangladesh is practically under the control of Al-Qaeda, Islamic State, Hamas, and other jihadist forces. So
Right.
that was a very disturbing and alarming uh, message for the American taxpayers, because their tax dollars were being used for such kind of the, I should say, terrorist agenda or jihadist agenda. And when even Biden administration, they were publicly talking against Al Qaeda, they were talking publicly against Islamic State, they were talking against Hamas. But on the other hand, they were funding the elements to empower those terrorist groups. So, what was the, as a journalist, you also understand that main agenda of these forces were to destabilize the world,
Mm.
but particularly what we say that countries in the global south, from
Mm.
Ukraine to Gaza, from Gaza to Afghanistan, from Afghanistan to Bangladesh.
Right.
And now, and now, this is, I mean, it's a serious matter, not a simple matter. I don't think that Donald Trump will only investigate the financial discrepancies or misuse of tax dollars. There will be also ultimate investigation of using of American fund for terrorist activities, because America is against terrorism, jihadism.
Right.
So this is just the beginning.
Right.
Uh,
Salahuddin, let me just tell our viewers one more thing. Salahuddin is also a
Shoaib,
counterterrorism
you can
expert.
call me
What's
Shoaib, is better. Shoaib.
Okay, Shoaib is also a counter-terror expert. So, being a counter-terrorism expert, the protests that have been launched right now uh, against against certain quarters who earlier were victims, but today the government has launched an operation. If you could talk about that, Yunus administration, and how terror outfits such as Hizb ut-Tahrir, a designated terror organization, is finding open space right now and support in Bangladesh.
First of all, I'd like to explain to you what happened on the 5th of February with the house of our founding father. In Dhaka city, the population is 250 million, only Dhaka city. But if you have seen that the crowd, the demonstrators, and the destroyers, those who are leading the so-called bulldozer march, it was hardly 2,000 people.
Right.
So it is not like as a public participation or mass upsurge. No, 250 million people living in this city
Right.
alone. And then what is that? I mean, I'm sorry, I'd like to stand corrected. It's 25 million, sorry, not 250 million, 25 million.
Yes.
2.5 crore people in Dhaka city. And 2,000, they are all belonging to certain hardline terrorist entities, such as you mentioned Hizb ut-Tahrir. You have seen the flag of Hamas. They were carrying the flag of Hamas. They were carrying the flag of Al-Qaeda, Islamic State. But if it was really something of people of Bangladesh, or at least people of the residents of Dhaka city, they would be carrying Bangladeshi flag. There is no Bangladeshi flag. It is like an invasion of Bangladesh by those elements, as you mentioned, Hizb Tahrir, and then additionally Al Qaeda, Islamic State, Hamas. Now, about the operation that you mentioned, Operation Devil Hunt, it almost resembles the March 25th, 1971 Operation Searchlight of Pakistanis, because you are aware that there was a five-member delegation of Pakistani ISI led by its chief to Bangladesh, who came to Bangladesh, visited Bangladesh, and then they met several elements which belong to insurgency groups inside India, including Paresh Barua. Paresh Barua is in Bangladesh, not in China. And then they also visited some of the training camps. They are restarting, re-establishing. They
Are you
also
saying they're re-establishing terror camps that will be
well,
working against India?
yes, the separatist camp belonging to the northeastern Ulfa and others. And the Pakistani delegation also visited our ordnance factory, Bangladesh ordnance factory, because they are taking control of it for producing ammunition. But under the garb of producing ammunition, they will produce explosives. They are also secretly talking about transferring their Shaheen 2 missile to Bangladesh under the name of Vijay 24. So this is very wide conspiracy of now when you say USAID, when you say American deep state, but actually Pakistan onshore, Pakistani
So
ISI.
only the deep state has changed from American deep state. Now it has become Pakistan deep state.
American deep state, okay. Pakistan has always been a loyal partner. Actually, I should have used another terminology, but I cannot. But Pakistan has been a loyal partner and associate of the lapdog of the American deep state.
You've used it. You said you will not.
No, I did not use the other exact word. I used only lapdog, but it's another word.
Yes.
So Pakistan's agenda has been for decades, and in the name of combating terrorism, because Americans have been giving them hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. You know that.
Yes.
Instead of fighting terrorism, they were encouraging terrorism. Because for Pakistan, terrorism is a cash cow. More terrorism, it makes Pakistani army financially beneficial. So now in Bangladesh, Ms. Gita, you know that for Pakistani ships carrying any kind of cargo, there is no provision for inspection.
Yes.
For any Pakistani national or Pakistani born in any other country applying for Bangladeshi visa, they don't need security clearance. So
they
Bangladesh,
don't? They don't?
No, on the 2nd of December, this provision of mandatory provision of security clearance for Pakistanis applying for Bangladeshi visa has been
for the visas, yes.
Visa, yes.
Yes.
So now for Pakistanis, Bangladesh has become a very excellent ground for not only exporting their terrorism. While Pakistan is facing the crisis for sugar, their own people are not getting sugar. Pakistan is sending 25,000 tons of sugar to Bangladesh. Why? Because beneath the sugar there is drugs, of course. So Bangladesh will not only become a transit of exporting terrorism to India and other countries in the region, Bangladesh will ultimately become the hub of transnational drug trafficking controlled by Pakistani ISI. So
it's very interesting. Shoaib, if you could just elaborate a little, because we'll go back to the main story, which is USAID and how Sheikh Hasina's government was toppled. But this is very interesting. Which are the terror organizations that work against India, who Pakistan is now going to support in Bangladesh to not just resurface but to regroup, get the kind of weapons they need to really make Northeast India unstable again?
You see, from the 2009 till 2024, Sheikh Hasina has dismantled all
That's
those training camps and bases within the Bangladeshi territory. Now, Pakistan wants to restart their SOS project, in Bangladesh, and I'm telling you on record that they have already established 3 training camps within the Chittagong Hill Crab. Um, it is uh, connected to some terrorist entities also in Bangladesh. They are collaborating. For example, Hizb Tahrir, they are collaborating. Then Ansar al Islam, which was previously known as Ansarullah Bangla team, they are also cooperating with the insurgents, Northeast-based insurgents, and also Rohingyas. So, because there are, according to a statement issued by a radical clergyman, that they say there are 10 million, 1 crore Rohingyas already inside India. So this is very big challenge, security threat coming up soon for India, the region, and ultimately it will expand to the world. Now, going back to your main point, U.S. aid. Then from USAID to Pakistani ISI to terrorism in Bangladesh and exporting terror to India. What is the reason? The reason is deep state. Deep state has its own agenda to destabilize these countries and then extract highest benefit from our countries by getting access to our natural resources, to our mineral resources, and also to create newer market for the Western military industrial enterprise.
Are you making a distinction, Shoaib, between deep state and Trump administration? Because Trump has made that distinction, although there is confirmations that are still to come for the people he's appointing. But for now, he has said that the deep state is working against him. So are you still continuing to make the distinction and that the deep state is working to destabilize these regions, unlike what Trump really might want?
You see, Trump is particularly unhappy with the deep state because it has actually tried to send him to jail, finish his career of becoming the first president for the second time. And Trump now understands that for America's plenty of problems, including the border crisis, illegal migrant crisis, these are all deep state were working on it. Because deep state was not only working to destabilize international countries in the world, it was also working for destabilizing United States from within.
Yeah.
And now Trump understands that deep state is the key enemy for the Americans. And for Trump, as with his America First policy, Trump is going to dismantle deep state.
Okay.
And this will ultimately, I can tell you now, almost guarantee that very bad news is coming up for Pakistan. Very bad news is coming up for jihadis, including Hamas in Gaza, and also imminent bad news for Yunus, maybe on the 14th of February.
Why the 14th of February?
Because Prime Minister of India is visiting United States from 12, and there will be a joint press conference of President Trump and Prime Minister Modi on the 14th of February. So if you have seen the Trump's previous joint press conferences, particularly the press conference with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, so Trump gave some strong messages during that press conference, which was of course related to Israel and Gaza conflict. Now Trump is going to be very harsh, very tough on Yunus on the 14th of February for 2 reasons. One is then I have to again go a little bit back. In 2016, when Trump won the election against Hillary Clinton, Yunus termed that day as a day of solar eclipse.
Hmm.
You remember that.
Yeah.
And when Bangladeshi expatriates went to meet Trump, President Trump, the first thing he uttered, where is that microcredit guy from Dhaka? He wants to make me defeated.
Hmm.
But Trump remembers this. And secondly, there are too much of web of financial discrepancies centering Yunus and Clinton's and Soros.
Right.
So that's why there will be very bad news for Yunus on 14th of February. And remember, India strategically now is very important to any of the US administration if they are willing to implement their Indo-Pacific policy. Without India, they cannot do that.
Right. Again, let's go back now to the subject at hand. We were talking about how Sheikh Hasina's government was toppled and what's the connect over here. Talk us through the economic gains and the economic linkages that led to so many people being mobilized against Sheikh Hasina. She
So
might have
from
had her own problems. She might have had her own decisions that she made, which might not have worked, and people were not very happy with some of the decisions that she was taking. That aside, she was
that,
democratically elected, and
that
and the manner in which she was ousted is something to ponder upon. And in that, the role of the U.S. and Yunus, um, uh, Professor Yunus, particularly so.
people were not happy with Hasina, people were angry with Hasina. These are the narratives created by the US deep state, USAID, Clinton's, Soros, etc. Now, again, you know the population of Bangladesh, 180 million. How many people demonstrated against Sheikh Hasina? 20 lakh, 2 million maximum. Not the whole nation, not at all.
Also, Bangladesh economically was doing very, very well in the recent
Excellent,
past. Right now,
exactly.
your industries are gone, your handloom sector is gone, your textile sector is in deep trouble. She really did well on the economic front,
Bangladesh was considered as an economic star. And now during this last six
including
months,
inclusion and diversity, tolerance.
yes, and then during the last 6 months, our foreign investment has fallen 71%. 10,000 factories has already been closed. And very soon, if Yunus is not ousted immediately, our garment factory will collapse. 6.5 million people will become jobless. And if you, I am talking to you from Dhaka and you are sitting in India. So during Hasina's rule, people were very happy economically. People were very happy with their lifestyle. And people were finding job prospects every month. Now people are extremely frustrated. Exorbitant rise of the essentials, no law and order at all, because there is no police practically on the street, no police. So the country is the kind of the you are living in some country like Syria or Pakistan,
Hmm.
and we never want to become Pakistan, because Pakistan is the country that is against us, the Bengalis. The 1971 war was against between Pakistanis and Bengalis. And Bengalis, when
True.
you call Bengalis, they killed our 3 million people. They sexually violated our 3 to 4 lakh girls and women, mothers, sisters. How can we forgive them? I have been keeping, I have been saying continuously that Pakistan is the only and eternal enemy of Bengalis. And if you can make Bangladesh a Bengali free nation, not Hindu free nation, Bengali free nation, then maybe it will become a part of Pakistan. Then you have to kill all the 180 million people. That is
That's
impossible.
that's a very strong statement, Shoaib, that you're making. But coming back to Yunus government and Yunus regime, you're in Dhaka. What's the sense that you get on how people are thinking about the caretaker regime?
I'm talking against Yunus for the last 6 months everywhere. And I'm rather getting a lot of love, respect from the people. They're happy that someone is talking. They are afraid to talk because they're afraid of being imprisoned, because many journalists are in jail and with the charges of murder cases. Journalists in the jail facing murder charges. It never happened even in Taliban rule, nowhere. Even not in the Erdogan's Turkey, but in Bangladesh. Now,
Right.
as you have mentioned that uh, I'm talking and they are not putting me into jail because I have already served 7 years rigorous imprisonment in this country during BNP and Awami League for criticizing jihad, for criticizing radical Islam. And the Awami League Sheikh Hasina even put me into the condemned cell for 5 years. So, I mean, a person who doesn't die in the condemned cell for 5 years, I think I am either a ghost or someone who cannot be killed or silenced. So, Yunus, maybe he's.
You're just a brave journalist. You're just a
No,
very,
no,
very
no,
brave man,
not
Shoaib.
like that, not like that.
But
Yunus is Yunus is thinking that this guy is a ghost. Better not touch him. Let him keep on speaking. And second reason is I am protected by the U.S. Congress resolution HR 64, which was passed by 409 votes bipartisan. It clearly says I cannot be harassed. A similar resolution has been passed by European Parliament, Australian Parliament, UK Parliament. But the jihadis and Islamists, they don't give a damn to this kind of the resolution. But Yunus knows who I am because I am the only person, and our newspaper is the only newspaper which has been exposing crimes of Yunus for last 3 years. And when every newspaper is praising him, almost worshipping, we are writing against him almost every day. So, as a journalist, you are also a journalist. One thing I can tell you, when there is a tyrant in any nation, and when a journalist speaks out, and I speak out because I have no corruption record, I have no black money. So what they can touch me? They not touch me. Those journalists who are already in prison facing murder charges, they were benefited by the Awami League government financially, but I have nothing like that. So they cannot touch me. Number one. Number two, any journalist anywhere, when you speak out, the regime will be afraid of you.
right, Shoaib, again, a lot of people don't know you, and they should have known you. They should have known the work that you're doing. Uh, right now, you have two very important endorsements coming for all that you've written, all that others are saying, which is Trump himself and Elon Musk. While they were focused on USAID, there was a part in that interview which spoke very clearly about Bangladesh government having been toppled. How is now the Yunus caretaker regime going to look at that? Because there's a lot of pressure for elections to be called in Bangladesh, and that is not happening. What are your expectations? Money, governments being toppled, Sheikh Hasina sitting here in New Delhi. What's the future for Bangladesh at this point in time? Will she be able to go back? Will Awami League be able to contest the elections? And will there be a wake up call on what really happened in Bangladesh, irrespective of whether if they like Sheikh Hasina or not?
First of all, in Bangladesh, there is no government. It's a kind of a headless regime. Even sitting in Dhaka, I don't know who is running the country. In one side, I see the so-called students. On the other hand, I am seeing this Al-Qaeda, Islamic State, Hizb ut-Tahrir, Hamas, and then Yunus is nowhere. He even called upon everyone the day before yesterday to immediately cease and desist from this kind of destructive act. No one listens to him. So, what is the future? I'm telling you, under Yunus, there is no chance of any election. Actually, Yunus is a heavy cargo for my country. The one moment, one single minute he stays, he will cause damage to my country. He must be removed. And you and I both know what is the method of getting him removed. And I'm sure they will act immediately right on time. And then there should be an election, of course, under election time government. And in Bangladesh, now, 40% of the Bangladeshis, they belong to Awami League, 35% belong to BNP. And one important figure I should give you, in Bangladesh, 89% of the people are against Islamism and jihadism. Only 11% are those elements. And during the last 53 years, Islamists did not get 3 seats in our 300-seat parliament. 3 seats. We don't vote, our people don't vote for them. They offer prayers behind them, but they don't vote for them. So future is like people are realizing Sheikh Hasina may have committed some blunders that I will have to also tell, yes, she has some blunders. For example, she was also appeasing Hamas. She was also demonizing Israel. She was also demonizing Jews. That was her blunder. She should get correct and she should learn from her mistakes. And in Bangladesh now, on 5th of August, when Sheikh Hasina left this country, there was a public perception, popular perception, BNP is coming to power. But during the last 6 months, BNP, man, they have been involved in extortion and all sorts of illegal activities. So quickly their popularity is, or expectation of people being BNP coming to power has fallen. And now BNP's two top leaders, Khaleda Zia and her son, Tariq Rahman, they are in exile. And there is no prospect of them for returning because even during this time under Yunus, they are not returning. So I think for Bangladesh, after this Yunus regime is gone, there should be something else for some time. And then the next government is Awami League again.
Right. Salah Uddin Shoaib Choudhury, thank you so much for joining us here on India Today Global. We will keep connected and keep coming back to you for all the latest developments in Bangladesh. There's also a lot of important stories and aspects regarding counterterrorism that we'll be breaking here on India Today Global. And Shoaib Choudhury will be joining us for all that and more. Thank you so much for joining us for now.
Thank you, Geeta. Thank you very much.